must have fallen asleep. Good thing we're not in battle, right? What's up? Oh? Good. Give Colonel Jervis my regards. Where's Pen? Typical. Well, I'm gonna go find him before I tape my end of season episode. Maybe get a drink in. Hey, everybody, it's been great. I'll see you all, when's my next shift? Next week? See you next week! Hey, has anyone seen Pen? Any of you seen Pen around? Damn it, and just when I wanted to grab a drink. Maybe he's already at the bar. See ya! That's weird. He isn't here either. Where could he have gone off to? Maybe I should just tape my show. Well, I guess the show goes on. Roll the camera! We're nearly there. Penguin Truth here. With the year winding down, it's time I take stock of the English dubs of the anime I've covered since the mid-season episode. I knew I was going to be doing 2 episodes like this year. As I've mentioned previously, I tend to watch anime in Japanese with subtitles, but there are times, such as when I'm watching for this show, that I watch it dubbed. If you're wondering what my standards are for deeming an anime dub good, I tend to go by 2 basic criteria. 1, faithfulness, and 2, performances. Obviously, either is somewhat malleable. A dub script has to make sense in the language it's written in, and performances rely just as much on directing and casting as the voice actors themselves. I just don't like it when an English dub studio tries to be too creative with their choices. The show already exists. I'm not looking for Funimation's ideas as to how the characters and plot should be, or what they think is funny. It can be said, though, that the overall quality of English dubs have reached a steady level of quality, which, in a way, is a shame, because while few new dubs are particularly terrible, neither are many really excellent. Just 10 or so years ago, the quality of English dubs varied wildly. It was a real melting pot of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The second half of the year, I managed to cover both a good variety of anime, as well as a variety of dub studios. Of course, that can be difficult to tie together when the dubs have little in common, so let's ease in with a studio I encountered twice. Manga Entertainment, a studio that couldn't pronounce its own name for a while. Manga my ass. Which is a perfect indicator of the quality of their products. Nowadays, Manga Entertainment is little more than a memory. I think their last release was, Redline? And before that it had been years without one. At least in the States. But back in the day, manga was big time. This year, I reviewed the first 2 episodes of the Heroic Legend of Arslan OVA, because a new TV series for it came out. The new series, by the way, is worth your time, and there's a 2nd season coming next year. But in the meantime, there's the English dub of the OVA to discuss, which was done by authentic Brits poshly playing pale Persians, and not being able to pronounce the main characters or anybody else's name right, for that matter.
Arslan. Prince Arslan. Arslan.
Arslan.
Arslan. Arslan.
Arslan.
The Arslan OVA dub is an interesting creature The English actors bring a superficial sense of class that seems appropriate for the setting of castles and knights and such. As an American and Antarctican, I'm a sucker for that sort of thing, maybe because, as Bill Maher surmised,
and our reliance on the British accent to convey gravitas is kind of our way of admitting that we know we're not really a serious people.
It's kind of a novelty for another reason, too, which is that the English voice actors are actually able to speak without putting on fake American accents, which they often do in manga entertainment dubs. Marvel, as Sean Barrett no longer has to try to sound like he's Clint Eastwood crossed with Sylvester Stallone.
So this puny little runt is the son of Andragoras.
That's right. The Crown Prince Arislan. Now give your name. Or else.
Oh, no. How dare you draw your sword at the legitimate heir to the kingdom of Pulse? You're nothing but the son of a traitor.
What?
Not that I don't enjoy Barrett's Clint Stallone, but it's pretty obviously a put-on he uses to play formidable yet silly middle-aged men. Such as, let's say, Inspector Zenigata and Lupin III Bye Bye Lady Liberty. There have been few franchises with more English dubs than Lupin III, and for some reason, none of them are particularly high in quality. You'd think that after all these years they'd finally get it right, but they always botch something, whether it's the script, the casting, the direction, etc. I have a fondness for the Foos cast, but the scripts were always a mixed bag and obsessed with dropping in modern pop culture references. Manga Entertainment's dub of Bye Bye Lady Liberty has a different problem. The performances are just plain lackluster. The cast is nothing special, for one. William Dufresne's Lupin is a few shades too nebbish. I have the same problem with Sonny Strait's Lupin from the Funimation dub, that he sounds like a put-on, gargly, squealy nerd voice. Lupin has a silly, childish side, but there should also be a sense of dangerous, edgy snarkiness, coming from a place of extreme self-confidence. Dufresne doesn't give that off. I don't know if he can. He sounds like Lupin the Nerd.
I calculate it'd take me 50 years to steal and destroy them all, and the prediction agrees.
Did the computer predict you'd swap an exciting life of crime for the kitchen sink?
My tastes have matured. It's time to go straight.
Listen, Wolf, just this one last job, and then we'll talk about slippers and pipe as you sit by the fireside.
Sounds great.
The other performances are nothing to write home about either. Barrett Zenigata is fine for the sort of lighthearted romp this feature is, but it sounds like Eric Myers, Garrick Hagan, and Tony Barry are all just phoning in their performances. And the VA for Michael is really bad at covering up her accent.
I first began research to gather all the information on her I could find. And using my computer, I discovered that she'd created the manipulative virus.
Then when I came along, you wanted me to locate her. And you'd fall into each other's arms, huh? Finally, you'd live happily together with her, and
No, I wouldn't! I hate her! I want to tell her how much I hate her!
Unfortunately, it's another in a long line of failures to adapt a Lupin feature into English. And while it's probably not one of the worst Lupin dubs, it's still disappointing. Maybe whoever gets the new Lupin TV show will actually have a dub that fires on all cylinders, but I'm not holding my breath. As for Manga Entertainment, they licensed a lot of great anime, but their dubs don't hold up at all, and it's a wonder they were ever acceptable. And speaking of unimpressive English dubs, ADV! As a licenser, ADV was ravenous, grabbing up anything it could get its hands on, like Manga Entertainment was at one point. Because it had a variety of properties, some of them hot titles like Evangelion, they were popular in the 90s and early aughts. But they spread themselves too thin and got in over their heads. As for the quality of their English dubs, they had Funimation beat for a while, but that's just because Funimation was horrid at first. In retrospect, most ADV dubs weren't that good either. The translations were mostly decent, but the casting and directing were another story. I covered 2 English dubs done by recording studios who specifically did ADV titles, Battle Angel and Blue Seed, during Action Channel Month. And they both have the same basic problem most ADV dubs have, which is stiff, stilted, or over-the-top voice acting as the probable result of bad direction or casting. Not that I've heard many of these VAs do well under different companies, but some of them, like Amanda Wynn Lee, have proven themselves a bit more competent in other hands. Could it have been her inexperience at the time? It's possible, but just listen to these clips and tell me what the problem is.
That's impressive that you can make a living all by yourself.
You think so? That's impressive.
What is?
Oh, come on. I'm talking about Zalem, of course.
Oh, I see.
What about a love letter?
But we don't know where he lives.
Well, I think I have the solution.
Huh?
Kinda says it all, don't it?
What? You want me to wear those?
I'd say direction played a strong role in making those sound so embarrassing. Now listen to a dub done by one Gaijin Productions, a company Winley herself started, who did the Read or Die OVA dub for Manga Entertainment.
I don't like trashy romance novels. It's better to have love than to read about it.
Well, I guess that's true.
Real love is much more complicated. It's not like those stupid books make it out to be at all.
What do you mean?
What would you choose? Would you take real love with all its complications or the picturesque romance in a story?
Better, isn't it? But then again, Gaijin also did the really awkward dub of End of Evangelion, which, like Read or Die, was directed by Win Lee. Maybe casting is the difference. Or maybe Evangelion is undubbable. Well, probably as long as Spike Spencer and Tiffany Grant are in it. Those crazy Canucks up north in the Ocean Group dubbed a lot of anime at one time, from Dragon Ball Z to Gundam, and even Western cartoons. Nowadays, Ocean dubs are a dying breed, and some might say for the better. Ocean has very few standout dubs, but one among them is what I'd consider cream of the crop, Death Note. Talk about a dub that lives to its potential, probably surpassing it, actually. Brad Swale, Alessandro Giuliani, Brian Drummond, Shannon Chan Kent, Kirby Morrow, Kathy Westlick. The list goes on. This cast knows what it's doing and plays their roles brilliantly, whether they're veterans or relative newcomers. It also helps that they're directed by Carl Willems, a veteran in ADR, and the script stayed very faithful but without seeming inflexible. The only flaw is some of the name pronunciations.
What do you think, Nier?
Perfect. Giovanni has done an excellent job. The handwriting matches that of the records Mikami keeps as prosecutor. There's absolutely no doubt this is his handwriting.
I agree.
With this, we can do it.
I've found that most of my favorite English dubs for anime come out of California, though you don't get a lot of those anymore either. Back in the day, the big California-based studios were Animes and Bang Zoom, responsible for a ton of great dubs. Not every dub was top-notch, but most of them were at least decent. Once again, in Bang Zoom's case, I point to Haruhi, via the movie I just covered the last episode. The whole Haruhi dubcast works well, from Wendy Lee's Haruhi to Stephanie Shea's Mikuru, and in the movie we get to see a lot more personality from Yuki, which was good for Michelle Ruff because she got to stretch her acting muscles a bit more for the role. Not that Yuki talked all that much more, mind you, but she had a wider emotional range when she did. And of course, all the while, Crispin Freeman's sarcastic, cynical Kion keeps the viewer's attention even during the slower parts of the story.
Wait, maybe there's another SOS brigade right here at Koyoin Academy. And maybe she's found a whole new group of people to be in it. Damn it. Just the thought of that makes me sick. Is it possible that me, Miss Asahina, Nagato, and Koizumi have outlived our usefulness? If that's the case, I'm out of the picture. I'm not even a supporting character in this crazy setup. I couldn't live with that. Anything but that.
Animes dubbed the Kakainer anime for Bandai Entertainment, with the criminally underrated Dave Wittenberg as our star player, Michael Gregory as the devious Professor Gill, and Stephen Bloom as the delightfully wicked Hakaider. The OVA even boasted such talents as Crispin Freeman and Wendy Lee. As you can tell, Animes and Bang Zoom shared performers. The overall quality of the dub doesn't push it into the greats, but it's solid enough.
Then you've left me no other choice but to kill Komyoji's daughter in order to motivate you.
No!
It's time for you to make a choice.
I won't. I won't let you hurt anyone I care about. I'll do whatever it takes.
Not every anime's dub was a winner, however. The dub for the original Mobile Suit Gundam movie trilogy is pretty stiff and stilted. This was an early effort, though, before some of these voice actors were shaped into the remarkable talents they'd become. The ones who sucked the hardest didn't go on to do anything, fortunately. There is something to be said of the novelty of Stephen Bloom as Char, but I'll go more in depth after I finish covering the whole trilogy. One of the lesser-known California studios was Elastic Media Corporation. They did the redubs of the first two Patlabor movies, and, well, I have to admit, I'm a bit torn about the newer Patlabor movie dub. On the one hand, it plays closer to the original Japanese script than the manga entertainment dub of old. It even retains an, on average, better cast than the manga entertainment dub. But, I don't know, it all seemed a little tepid, especially compared to the manga dub, which failed on a few levels, but when it succeeded, it did quite well. It's possible that neither dub is quite good, but neither is bad either.
He didn't think the police were worthy opponents from the start. He had total and absolute confidence in his own program. Or else, he wouldn't have killed himself without confirming its outcome. My guess is on the day that he took his dive, he was gleefully sneering at us, at all of us, residents of this entire city.
Say, do you realize? Whenever you start talking about Hoba, you look oh so pleased with yourself.
What? That can't be good.
How much longer can I put off talking about streamlined pictures? Ooh, what about that Outlanders dub? I think that one's out of Jersey. Hard to judge that one. It's such a weird feature. I guess they did okay.
Well, actually, when I think about how the fate of the Earth rests on my shoulders... No! That doesn't mean I'm not, totally interested in you! It's just that...
Allied to good! Nightmare to you!
Well, now I guess I have no choice. Gogo 13 The Professional was a dub done by the historical Streamline, directed by the famous Carl Masick and the voice actor for Duke Togo, Gregory Snagoff. And it's pretty excellent, actually. Oh, there are a few things I could say about Masick and his much ballyhooed place in anime history, not many of them kind. You have to admit, Streamline did bring anime to a lot of people who'd otherwise not have seen it. And even apart from that, The Professional has a well-written, well-performed English dub that I can't throw shade on.
Just like I thought. I was almost somebody's clay pigeon last night at the airport. Dawson's granddaughter and butler, both of whom were at the boat party.
Are you sure it was them?
Mm-hmm. They almost nailed me.
Sick bastard. That's really cold. The guy must be nuts to drag his granddaughter into this. That's one desperate trap.
Trap?
Bet your ass a trap. He's trying to suck you into that maze he calls Dawson Castle by letting you know who he is.
And that covers the English dubs from the second half of the season. A few good ones, one amazing one, a few bad ones, and a couple I'm ambivalent towards. So a pretty good range in both studios and quality. It's been a pleasure to share my thoughts on them. And it's been a pleasure, albeit a difficult one, to do another season of this review series. Otaku Evolution still doesn't have many viewers, and I'd like to see that change in the new year. You can expect reviews of titles such as Last Exile, Crusher Joe, Cyber City Oedo, more Gundam, and others. We'll laugh, we'll cry, we'll watch Goku Midnight Eye. So join me, won't you? Next season of Otaku Evolution is certain to please all 5 of you who watch it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm taking some time off. See... What is this now? What's this about? Somebody spilled their soda on a panel again? Bring it on screen. How did that just appear?
It's like it decloaked.
Hail it.
It's hailing us.
On screen. Oh no. You again? Give me a break.
Greetings, Penguinopolis. I am Cassus of Zwell, and I have a request.